We are back. We are back. What's going on, Jake? It's the customary. We back, baby. Challenge debates, challenge perspectives, you know, topics upon topics for the regular person, the regular man, the regular woman,
Not everything's black and
culture,
white, too, Dre. Not
time.
everything's
Yeah.
black and
Not
white.
everything is black and white. Remember that. Not everything is black and white, my people.
Yeah. We want to say thanks to roughly 100 people that watched our first episode. It was our first one. We are working on it as much as we can, starting off
Yeah, we're
small,
figuring out
but
a lot, figuring out a lot of the legals, the algorithmic things, everything, man. It's a lot.
yeah,
And it's
we
only us too. Yeah.
we are figuring this out as we go. Hopefully nothing happens to us in the time of any cease and desist or lawsuits or whatever. Let's not hope that is. But it's been about a week. We've had a busy week.
2 weeks, Jake. Two.
It's 2 weeks.
Two,
Yeah, Dre and I
man.
are busy people,
It's been
full-time
two,
dads
man.
working. So we got a lot of stuff going on. But it's been a busy week. And we'll jump into it. A little bit of reason why we were off last week. We had a lot of stuff going on. But we talked about last week about making sure men get the help they need regarding mental health or physical health. But Dre actually had I don't want to call it a surgery. He had a doctor's appointment.
I had a little, what would they say? In and out.
In and out.
Pause.
They were in. They were
I had
in.
to, I had a colonoscopy, my people.
How'd that go?
It went
You had to
great,
drink. You
man.
had to drink a lot of weird stuff, right?
Yeah. The last 24 hours before, you gotta do a liquid diet. You gotta be real disciplined on it. It was easy for me, but for the last week, I've had to cut out things day by day and not be able to take certain medications, things like that. But it all worked out. They say the average man's supposed to get it at 45. African American man, a little bit younger. I'll be 38 May 1st. So my doctor recommended it for me because I had a few questions about my gut and my bowels, things of that nature. But everything came back negative. So that's a good thing. But I did experience bruising, some bruising.
Okay.
So I've been dealing with that since Thursday. It's Sunday now. This will
Like
probably
in this,
drop.
like just your stomach, like cramps
Yeah, yeah,
issues.
yeah. So I've had to use the heat pack on and off. I've told everybody I've been rehabilitating. They need me for a game. I'm a game time decision. But everything is well, man.
To me, why they say African Americans are more at risk. I didn't know that. When you told me that, I was like, I was kind of.
Well, they said like it's and I don't know who they is. I guess it's the doctors and the higher ups, but black men are more prompt to get colon cancer than anybody else. So, and hey, check the facts. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard. So I was proactive with it, as was my doctor, and everything came back negative. Thank God. But I'm gonna go every 10 years, you know, learn a lot about myself. There's certain things I'm gonna take out of my diet. Yo, Jake, it's so hard to not have dairy. It's
100%.
like it's so hard not to have
I
dairy.
switched from regular milk.
Man,
I do oat milk.
okay, I
And
need to try that.
it's made a world of difference when I get coffees or lattes. I used to eat cereal a bunch. And I had no problems. A grade school, high school, college, and it wasn't too recently, but it's like I wouldn't be like a massive, oh, it's an emergency, gotta go. But you get those cramps, you get those feelings, and you're like, oh, but then I noticed when I made that switch, I didn't get those very often. So
They ain't there no more.
yeah, they're not there, but like I'll still eat cheese, and I've never been like a cottage cheese fan or like yogurt, but cheese slices, cheese cubes, I'll still eat cheese, and I'll eat ice cream and things like that. But for milk, making that switch to oat milk has completely changed the game, at least for me. For those, I'll get those gut
I need to try
cramps and
that.
stuff. Yeah,
I need to try some oat milk. I've tried some other type, but nothing really helped. I haven't tried oatmeal yet. Oatmeal.
I do Planet oat milk, and you can get it. Walmart carries it. Hy-Vee's got some. But I'll get the zero sugar, vanilla, non-sugar stuff because it's like 40 calories for a cup. and I'll put that in all my coffees or my lattes at home. And if I'm ordering something, it's like, hey, oat milk. And before it was like, that stigma when the oat milk first came and like all these little like milk substitutes came, people were like, oat milk, almond milk. I'm like, no, it's really, really good. And isn't it quite weird? And my wife tells me this sometimes too, because my son loves milk. I'm sure your daughter loved milk or still drinks it.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that we're like one of the only, this could be wrong, that we're the only species, humans, that drink milk from another animal source? You're not seeing pigs drink
Yeah.
cow's milk. You're not seeing the goats leave their mom to go to the cow.
Right.
Granted, I understand breastfeeding and that
Got to stop
nature,
at some
but
point.
it's like you're stopping at a certain point. You're still
Can't
drinking
go
milk
into
when you're,
somebody else's milk.
yeah, when you're 60 years old, still drinking gallons of milk. And it's like, well, it's just find it odd. When she explained that to me, I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's real. And then, growing up, I mean, at least for me, and for you too, we about the same, around the same era. You got the commercials, milk does the body good, and milk
Oh,
mustache,
then
and all
that
the cool
turned out
shit
to be
about
a whole
milk.
ploy. We found out the entire thing
Oh,
was a ploy.
man, America,
America. Everybody
America.
that grew up in that generation of got milk is like in their 30s or 40s right now and realized like, oh, that shit was just a ploy. I don't know
Yeah,
if it was for like the dairy to like consume it, but it was just more like, hey,
yeah.
got milk, drink milk. Everyone was, if you had a milk mustache back in the 90s, you were sexy,
Man, yeah,
basically.
yep, getting a check
That's true.
for sure.
I mean, so that's like I don't miss it. I don't miss milk. Speaking of diets, though, too, it's really tough. I feel like the older you get, the more you have to watch what you eat, and like there's people out there that are still
Yeah,
like eating
man.
whatever they want and no problem.
Hey,
Since like last August, and I've
that's
lost
good for you,
30
man.
pounds, and it's nuts the fact that you just watch what you eat and what you're consuming on a day to day. I'll still eat junk, but
Yeah,
I used to just be like, oh, I'm gonna open the fridge. I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna cook this. I'm gonna eat this much for dinner. And it's like actually
yeah,
I can eat better food, but it's crazy. And I think the more we get old, especially for men, when we were younger, we're dominant. If you were athletic, if you weren't athletic, you could pretty much eat what you wanted. You were working out all the time, playing sports. You didn't even care about it. Probably for me, it was like when
you
I
burn it
turned,
off.
yeah, when I stopped playing sports, intramural sports through college, or even like when my young working life, when I would do indoor soccer or softball with the coworkers, and then I just kind of stopped doing that, and then you just realize how fast you put on the weight, especially the dad bod, I guess you can say, the dad
Yeah,
bod.
we in now, but hey, we still gotta make sure we good.
Dude, it's nuts. But I'm glad your surgery was all flying colors. I'm glad to
Yeah,
hear
man,
that.
it all went well, man.
I don't know if I'll get one anytime soon. Like I'll probably get it. You said 45?
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll probably get it mine. So I got, I don't know, 10 years, give or take. Unless
I
anything
actually go
drastically
see my.
happens.
I actually go see my. Sorry to cut you off. I go see my doctor in 2 weeks. So for my yearly, So he ordered this in November, so I
Oh,
couldn't
speaking
get
of
in until
yearlies,
April.
this is a good segue because I had a yearly conversation too, and this for all you people listening, know this. If you know how so Dre knows, but for you all listening and watching, I on January I got Achilles tendonitis and it freaking sucked. Dre's
Man,
had it, we talked about it, but it's
yep,
much better now. But anyway, I went through the ringer with like, what happened? What's going on? Saw, a podiatrist, got the x-rays, just inflammation. And, from this day, it's more of like, I probably wore the improper footwear
yeah, you got to
and
change all that up.
change it up. Speaking of age, but my point is, I had that earlier in the year. I had my annual with my doctor, paid physical, right? It's just your physical, your annual thing. In my head, I'm like, oh, it's my 1 year physical. I'm gonna ask questions. I didn't know this, but now I know this from talking to people and researching. If you talk to your doctor on your annual physical about anything that doesn't deal with that physical, they will bill you for an outpatient. So not only are you going to have your physical on there, they'll have like your 30-minute questions. I'm pretty sure because she pulled up my x-ray, she's like how things are going, and I told her about my Achilles injury. She pulled it up. We talked about some stuff. I'm pretty sure then I got billed for that. So what should have been a zero
That's
dollar
legit.
now I have a payment for. So that is something that I think people can take away from this show is if you're going for a few yearly only say nope, nope. I'm only going to answer questions that cover this because the medical system is
Mhm.
janked right now.
Yeah. So, hey, Jake, I'm gonna go in, make sure I cut him off, cut
But
him
that's
right
what
off, smooth off.
I told my wife, I was
Yeah.
like, next time I go, I'm going to say, this, do the cough, weigh me, measure me, everything going good, no smoking, no drugs, no medicine. And one
That's
time was
all.
like, did you guys talk about weight? And I'm like, you guys weigh me when I first get in there. Of course, the
Hey,
doctor talked
weigh
about
me,
weight. What do
get
you
my
want?
height, everything.
What do
Yeah.
you want me to talk about? You just gonna like physically examine me, like, okay, this guy's breathing, so he's good to go.
Right.
Man, Dre, I'll tell you. But anyway, that was just
And I
something
gotta
that popped
fast.
up.
I gotta fast 12 hours before too. So I gotta do labs, I guess. But
No, I couldn't anyway. But when you go, just make sure you say, hey, I'm only here for my physical. I don't want to
it's
ask
what
any
it is.
questions outside this realm. No, man, it's nuts. Yeah, so for both of us, and I told Dre and I were talking earlier. It's been nuts here. We're getting new carpet in our house, and you mentioned something about doing too much of the house, and I messaged you. I said we have a 3% interest rate, and I was like, we have to keep this interest rate. I'm milking it for everything I can. If I have to tear down my house and rebuild it to keep the 3% interest rate, then I'm doing it.
Hey, I know exactly what you meant when you said that. I just ignored it. I was like, yeah, you gotta make sure you do it. Because dang, what if they put a tariff on your interest? Nah, I was playing.
Yeah, put
That's a
there. That's what.
segue.
So
You know.
did you guys panic buy anything? Did you read about the panic buying or like I don't want to say it's not really impulse buying. They're calling it panic buying. Have you guys bought
Not
anything?
yet. Not yet. Because I would just kinda play it smooth, but not yet. Not yet.
So there was a time when that happened, which tariffs are a lot of people don't realize how tariffs work. And you're seeing
Mhm.
that in the news and you're hearing about it,
Yeah.
and people are
It's a
nuts.
hot button topic, so it's clickbait.
No, and we thought about it. We almost bought a car. We have two
Yeah.
decent cars, but we were like, look, we
Yeah.
don't lease them, we buy them, we pay
Yeah.
them
Ain't no
off, train them,
leases.
whatever.
Yeah.
We were like, do we just get this? We wanted a Subaru, and the Subaru obviously is the best. You can look it up. That is ranked by a bunch of people that know their facts about cars, whether it's Consumer Reports, JD Power. But we were gonna buy one, and I was like, I'm gonna go buy one now. I was like, my wife was like, nah. So then I was like, let's figure this out. Let's not panic buy. But people have been doing it. I saw people buying cars, people buying all kinds of stuff because they weren't really quite sure what's going on. And I don't know. Anyone that thinks that this was the best decision, that the foreign countries pay for tariffs, does not understand supply chain. And Dre and I both have worked in supply chain. We understand how things get processed and get brought here and get delivered to people's doors. Yeah, the carpet we knew wasn't gonna get tariffed high at all. We knew we were planning on this for a while, but for tariffs, I just think anyone that thinks they're a good thing, they can be played as a good thing. But here's what people have talked about, Dre, and I want to ask you a question. So the
Mhm.
trade deficit. Do you know in your words, and I'm not calling you, this is my first time, I'm not calling you stupid, I'm not calling you dumb. I want to
No,
know,
come on now. No,
I want
stop
to
it.
know what you think when someone says a trade deficit. China's got a $5 million trade deficit. What does that mean? What do you think that means?
The trade deficit, okay. I would think that means an import that we're, no, something we're importing to another country that we're not making as much as China is making off of their. Is that, am I kind of saying it right?
In a way, and the people can fact check me here, but think
Yeah.
of it this way, and this is an easy analogy, right? I sell apples, you sell oranges. We're at a farmer's market, right? You're gonna buy 5 apples from me, right? And I'm only gonna buy 4 oranges from you because that's all I need. I only need 4. You want 5. I'm technically in a trade deficit with you because I took one less than you. That doesn't mean I owe you any money or you owe me money or
Right.
you're cheating me. That's how it works. We buy a ton of stuff. We're a consumer driven country, right? So
Right.
we're
Right.
buying and buying and buying. Of course, they have a crap ton deficit over us because we only do cattle, soybeans. I'm sure we sell other
Yeah,
stuff
we
out
are.
there, but that's what it means. But the news will tell people that it's a high number and thinking that it's based on why are we not getting that money? That's not what it means. And yeah, if you're on the, comment below if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but that's what a trade deficit is just, yes, Dre, you were on the right track. We just buy more from China than China buys from us. And
Yeah. I mean,
that's just how it is.
everything in my room. I mean, this is a fake backdrop I got on right now, but everything in my room is made from China, made Taiwan.
No, and the fact that they're like
Everything I got on.
factories. Yeah, you keep fact. And the thing is, people are like, I will gladly pay for stuff made in America. I don't think that's true because everyone
That's
votes
not
for
true.
minimum wage decreases. You're not going to pay someone cooking your burger, so you're telling me that you gladly pay more money for American product when you can't even say, let's raise the federal minimum wage from 7.25. People are very hypocritical, and whether you're on the right or you're on the left, you need to know how things work. Plain and simple. Tariffs, a trade war with China, who also, I'm not on TikTok, but I've seen this. Dre, you might have seen it. Do you know now that factories in China are using
Yeah, I've
TikTok
been
to tell
watching them.
people to
Yeah,
say, like, hey, we make Dior, we make Chanel. Buy it from us for $50 instead of doing that. You're gonna feel like we will lose a trade war, especially because we've already told them, hey, computers, chips, and phones, our
yeah,
big
they're not gonna.
three, they're not going
Yeah,
to tariff. So you
the
basically took
tariff threat.
your biggest weapon, I guess, from tariff negotiations off the table just like that. Man, I'm telling you, first 100 days of what we have going on is freaking nuts, man.
Yeah, and I kind of came at you with the like the devil's advocate mindset because I'm not a supporter of whatever side. I'm a supporter of me and my family and where we need to be and what's gonna best provide for us. And I just feel like the president right now, he's running the country how it should be because this country is a marketplace. It's like we're the biggest consumers to other countries. Like we buy so much from other countries, but it's time to make things hard before it's better again. I guess they're doing the whole "make it great again" thing. Sometimes, hold on, Jake, hold on. Sometimes the messenger is the person that you don't want to hear the shit from. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Who was the messenger in this situation, in this global
carrot head.
fiasco?
Carrot head, and then his guy, his billionaire man. You know, come on, we gotta sugarcoat this. The guy that people worship before God in this country, Trump, and then the other guy that they fake hate, but they liked him on that day. You know, but that's something for another day. But I told you, I think tearing shit down first is gonna help in the long run in some kind of way. I just feel like that. I don't know why. I don't have any facts. I don't have any equations, any percentages. Hey, if he if he goes through with this because he's playing hardball, you see, it's only on China now. Like the tariffs that he put out, whatever the prices, and the entire then China did 100 and whatever back. Like shit is real. They playing chess, but okay, Trump build more warehouses here. That'll create more jobs for people.
Trey, that takes longer. You work in
I
a
know,
warehouse. You run a warehouse. That's gonna
I
take
know.
longer than 4 years.
Okay, but put it in effect. Motherfuckers are gonna live in America for longer than 4 years. So make things like
Here's my devil's advocate to that stupid argument, Dre,
go
is
ahead.
you can't invest. Why would countries say, look, I'm gonna invest in a US product manufacturing plant when it's so wishy-washy where you're getting a pause, you're not getting a pause? We've dealt with this in 2016 through 2020. We know that nothing is gonna happen. I'm not saying I'm for one way or the other, but this does affect my life for the fact that things get more expensive. If I wanted to buy a couch, I'm not buying a couch now because no one in America is going to make it. And if they, no one's going to be able to get it to me in a fast period of time. If I wanted to buy a phone before the whatever elimination of those tariffs, Dre, you love iPhones. You buy a new one almost every time it comes out. You basically be like, damn, I'm paying 3 grand for a phone now. That affects your life. You said earlier, my family and what's best for me. These tariffs are not good. If you want to do a trade deficit, you need to say, hey, instead of doing this, you just need to purchase an X amount, right? They don't buy, we probably export a very little amount of cars. That's the
Right.
conversation you need to have. You need to say, instead of saying, we'll still buy your clothes, your gadgets, whatever, but we need you to buy more than just our beef and our grains, or buy more of it. You also need
Well,
to buy
that's
some of our
where
cars.
maybe that's where they're not telling it. Like, bro, us regular people, we're regular individuals in America. We're only gonna hear. the propaganda, and the shit that they want us to hear. And then we're only going to listen to people that we like to listen to,
I
even
think
if they're
that's
right or
that.
wrong.
And see that, but that's for a
You know what I'm saying?
certain.
I try to listen to different people that have a
Exactly. No, 100%.
whole different mindset of what I got just to see what I'm lacking. So
No,
I don't know,
that's the
man.
thing. You have to be well-rounded in everything because
Got to.
if you just watch one news, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but everybody knows there's one news outlet that reports completely opposite than like the other six. Take it as you
Yeah.
want. That is a news outlet that will feed you information or skew information in a certain way.
But because your family always watched it and your grandpa left it on all the time, your grandma watched it with him, they made it seem like it was okay for you and that's what you should watch too. But when you
Well,
get
the thing is, like,
lies and
it
propaganda,
was on in the
it's
house
crazy.
when I was a kid,
It's
but I've
yeah,
learned to be like, look, I can't just watch this because it's like there's got to be more stuff. Plus, it's
yeah,
like
man.
I have experiences of things that my parents probably didn't have. Of whoa, this is crazy.
In the
Granted,
real
like
world.
our generations probably went through what 12 once in a lifetime issues since we were probably in our early teens.
Yeah.
So it's nuts. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say was
But
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, I'm just saying, I just think what's going on now is a complete shitstorm.
It is a shit show. And I think we both agree. I'm just trying to see.
Unless there's a way, I just don't see the biggest, like, we're already ruining stuff with Canada and Mexico, right? So like if you wanted to strengthen those trade stuff, you basically are not going to have that happen, right? We have a big stick, but think of it, Dre, you're a big individual, right? I'm small compared to you when it comes to like our sizes, right? Think of it, if there was one of you and one of me, probably in a one-on-one battle, people probably put their money on you, right? If there was
Shit.
50 of me against you and we just say, hey, you're probably going to lose, right? And that's right now what we're probably going to see. Every country could cut us off. The reason
They
also that
could.
there's no reason for people to really do business with the US when you have leadership that's doing certain things that is more of a bully tactic in my mind, because you could just say we don't need beef. I mean, China's basically already said we're not buying your beef. They're taking it from Australia, I believe. So it's like I'm telling you, I do think, and I want people to understand, if you say bad times before it gets good though, Dre, which could be, but I'm thinking that the
Yeah.
bad times could be very, very, very bad. Where you're
And
talking
who's gonna
like
survive? And who's gonna
the
survive and adapt?
the rich people that have the money that don't give a shit how it is. They could care less what
They
happens.
survive, Jake, but us regular people make this economy thrive. They need us. So at the end of the day, they're gonna have a bunch of billionaires
It's also the people that
cooking,
don't. It's also the people that they'll
cleaning,
screw
and
over. They'll screw over people like you and me, no matter what. They don't care.
they don't. But at the end of the day, they need us. So there has to be a silver lining. I just think that's just how I feel.
I tell people all the time, I mean, whether they want to hear from me or not, it doesn't matter what happens in the federal government as much because that's just a big shitstorm. I tell people your local elections, right? School boards, governors,
Yeah, I just
mayors,
voted. One of the
that's the
ladies I voted for
main
got in
thing.
too for Springfield.
Yeah, because that's where you live. That's where
Yeah, man.
most of those rules are going to apply to you more than like a full governmental law.
Exactly.
And I try to
Man,
yeah, and
it's real.
we live in the Springfield area. I don't You live in Springfield limits. I don't,
Yeah.
so I didn't get to vote for that mayor. But it's a pretty powerful city. It's the third largest in this
Yeah.
our state. It's got the largest Springfield school district, I'm pretty sure is the largest
It's the
school district
biggest.
in our state. So it's a
And my
pretty
wife
I mean,
works in it.
yeah, so it's a pretty big area. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have any one way or the other. Like I said, I couldn't vote for that mayor. I think it's nice that they have I think it's a 4-year term instead of 2, or they doubled it to 8 or
Yeah.
something like that, which is nice. Still putting a term limit on. And I truly do think that sometimes 4 years is tough to do anything. I mean, especially if like the first couple years you're always trying to fix something or change things. You only got two
Yeah.
years, so that's good. But long story short on that, I want people to know the American people pay for the tariffs. You're importing goods, you're paying for those tariffs. Whoever tells you that the foreign companies are paying for it is a batshit crazy person, Dre. Check me if I'm wrong on that, but that's the fact.
And how I feel is you got to play the game. So we got to play the game. We got, yeah, yeah, Triple H. Yeah. It is what it is. You got to play the game too. And as far as all this going on, and you see the Dow Jones and the 401ks and all that information. Hey, I've had the same 401k since 2007. It lasted through that Great Depression in '08. It lasted through COVID. We're gonna be all right unless they just get rid of it.
Okay, well then let me ask. I'll tell you this: the bond market is completely different than stocks. And do you know who owned a bunch of bonds? China sold over. So the night before these tariff pauses happened, there was reports that they were unloading a lot of bonds, which means they're basically telling people we don't really trust American business decisions at this moment because typically when stocks are down, bonds are the safe bet. But if bonds start selling, it kind of devalues a lot of futuristic of like, is the dollar going to hold up? That was happening. I don't agree that I don't understand how or why, and I need to look more into it before I have a better opinion about it of why foreign countries have American US backed bonds, but
It's
they
big
were
business.
but they were selling them like crazy, and I'm also pretty sure Japan was doing it, and I think that perked, our president was like, "Oh crap." Because that could lower our value of the dollar, which I'm pretty sure is already the lowest it's been in forever. So if someone says
Forever.
that we're doing great, we're
I like
obviously
to.
not. We're obviously not right now. Our dollar's devalued, so it's the
Hey
401k
Jake, I
talk,
got a
Dre. The
question for
401,
you.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go
No,
ahead.
I'm just
Finish
saying
that,
the
please.
401k talk is great. I understand the 401k. In the long term, markets will go up. However, I lost like $6,000 in a matter of like 10 days. That's a shit ton of money that you just don't have anymore. And then it's like, do I want to put more money in this? Do I not want to? I get that. I'm not people like us don't sweat. Everyone that I know that's in the finances say, hey, this is actually better for us. Things are cheaper in the long run. But I'm always in the back of my head, I'm like, what if there's no future? Like what if this shit is just gone, like permanently? Like
Then we got to figure something. So I'm all, I'm with you when you're right, and you are right. But I'm saying sometimes shit is gonna happen. We're gonna bitch about it, but we have to figure out something else. We have to. Okay, we got to move this way. Then they get rid of 401k,
401k.
tariffs go higher. We can complain, but like, what's that?
We had pension plans. Guess who took pensions away? Fucking people that
Yeah,
voted against it.
the government. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like
yeah,
you said earlier, we're the people that make they can't live without us, right? But we vote for situational stupidities that have ruined the face of you could blame it on Henry Ford if you want, who started the factory jobs from the 8 to 5, and then he was actually working a lot more. Then we got the 40-hour work
yeah,
week. Then we had unions. Then people didn't want to do union dues because
yeah.
if you have a union, and I'm not sure if you're part of a union or if you ever were. I'm
No,
not
we
part
can't
of a
even
union.
utter that word.
No, it's my father was a union man, but he also said he's not for union. So I kind of was like bamboozled by that a little bit. But I guess like in his trade of work as in construction, being a
You
union
had
is
to
the
be in it.
best bet because it helps you with, workers' rights and pension plans and stuff like that. But the unions are shady too, probably. And there's talks about
Absolutely.
that too. But there's situations in place that we've just like right now, it's Ks or IRAs. If you have a job with the pension, yo, congrats to you because that's very, very rare these
It's hard to
days.
get.
And people that have pensions that no longer have them getting phased out. They probably look on the payroll and like, "Oh, so and Jay's got a pension. Shit, when can he collect next year? Fire his ass." So it's like they don't want to pay pensions. And before I'll say this last thing before you want to say something is, free market's great. Capitalism, I don't think is the best. I truly do
It's
not.
not.
I don't think capitalism in regards to how America's turned capitalism from what the American dream,
That's
because it's not about
that's
it's what
go
America's
go on.
turned. It's what we turned it into. Back in the day, you come here, you build a business, you make whatever it is. You can't build a business anymore because one, the big dogs are gonna kill you. If they don't, they buy you, and
Or they really kill you.
or they really kill you. And it's you physically can't. I don't think you work for the stock shareholder value, like
Yeah,
that's the end of the day. That's all, and that's what these stocks people talk about it. It's like everyone lost trillions of dollars. I'm like, how is that? How is what that values your company? You're still selling phones. You're still making
exactly.
software. People are still buying your clothes, but yet your value goes down because people panic of what's happening. And I don't know. I think capitalism can work. I'm not
It
people.
can, and I think it's a necessary evil. but the way it's used in certain circumstances is just not right, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, people will probably say, "Oh, this guy's a socialist or whatever," but I'm like,
That's a
is that wrong in a way? I mean, like, yeah, I don't want my stuff, my hardworking things to go to you, Dre. Like, no offense, like I love you, man, but like I don't want my stuff to go to you. But at the same time, like, why would it not? If your kid is sick and you need to go to the doctor, I have no problem with that. That's fine. But people just refuse. And that's why I think when we talked there last week, when you said what's good for me and my family, it was a little triggering for me because, like, I get it. We're
That's why I
dads.
said it like that.
We're
That's why I said it
dads.
like
We're
that.
men. We want to protect the family. But at the same time, like, I don't like that mentality because it's like, it's what's best for your community and what's best for my neighbors. And if you want to talk about it's another topic for another day, but I just think
No,
the way
I'm
it,
with you, but it's like the question, like all this stuff happening. You got a job, your wife got a job, and this may sound fucked up. So if you're hearing this may come off wrong. No, I'm talking. No, I'm talking to the people listening. My wife got a job. I got a job. Y'all both got a job. We're good. A lot of this shit is affecting a lot of other people, and I have a heart, but I just can't crumble under the pressure that this is just gonna fuck the society up, and we're just gonna crumble as a country. I just don't believe that. I don't think
you think America's
that
too big
crazy
to fail?
motherfucker.
Do you think America is too big to ever fail? Like, be a failed sovereign state?
No. And a lot of people gonna hate to hear that, but no, anybody can fail. You see the man on my shirt. I mean, it's comic books and shit, but anybody can fail.
Yeah, this guy. This is the reason. That's why I failed. Never doubt. Never doubt.
But hey, man, we agree. We agree on the shit. It's just hard. It's tough, man.
No, let's talk about something fun. Last episode we talked
Ovechkin.
about.
Shout out to Ovechkin.
Oh
Passing
yeah,
up
yeah.
Gretzky.
But that was good. That was some cool news.
That's
For
something I
people.
didn't think I ever see in my lifetime.
So I mean, I follow Blues hockey. I mean, they're playing like the 2019 Blues, which is awesome. But I didn't follow too much of like that. He was beaten by a game, I think, quickest by a game or something like that, right? Give or take. I think it was a game. No, that good kudos to that. The other good thing is Rory got the Grand Slam after
Yes.
I think he hasn't won a major since 2014. They
He's
get like
35
11.
now, I think.
Yeah, 11 attempts to get the Grand Slam, and he finally got it today. One of my buddies texted me. He's like, "Oh, I'm rooting for Warrior," and I was just like, "Man, I just couldn't jump on it." I was like, "This guy's been here, and he almost lost it. He went to a
Yeah, he
playoff
almost
with
blew it.
Rose," and I'm like, "We've seen this song and dance before." And then my buddy's like, "Nah, it's different song, different dance." Like it was good seeing him win,
Yeah,
but for a second there, I
finally.
was like, "I can't."
He had to
I
make it
can't.
interesting.
I was like, I can't just be like, let's go, Rory. I'm like, nah, something's gonna happen. His partner with DeChambeau. I'm like, something's gonna happen. Bryce messed
Yeah,
it.
underdog. I took
Bryce had a
Rory under 69 yesterday. He went under.
see. I can't bet on golf. I just feel like that's just like I'll bet on football all day long for some reason. I don't know what it is. But like golf or basketball, baseball, like it's just one of those things where I can't make those bets, and I just don't feel comfortable. Like, damn, I don't know, because like golf, you could implode like a heartbeat. But yeah, that's the good news. And then we talked about the tournament last time we spoke. Since then, the championship's been played. And shout out to you, Dre. I didn't know Houston was that those.
Yeah, Houston went, man, but they blew it. They blew it.
Do you have any takes on
They
that? Because I mean,
blew it.
obviously, I
Yeah, man. They
Florida people said we're going to win from the start because they were the best defensively statistically. And I guess that's proven that was true because they obviously won. But you follow it more than I do, so gladly love to hear what you have to say.
Florida won, and there's no buts about it, ifs, ands, or buts. But Houston, man, they couldn't get a shot. Their last field goal was with like a minute or 3 minutes left in the game. They couldn't get a shot off in the last second. Like it was horrible. It was horrible, man. But shout out to Florida. They won the game. The better team won. There's no excuses. Their defense stopped it.
I was reading and about that their analytics team focused on different like numbers than the rest of the recruitment class too, because I guess all their players weren't super highly recruited, right? And there was some good
Yeah.
transfer students that came over, which I think. Do you think that has a lot to do with basketball and college
Well,
basketball? I guess.
What, like transfers?
Not transfers, but I guess just some of the off the court like statistics. I didn't read into them too much, present to you, but I assume there's plenty of things in college ball for under recruited players that if you get them in the
Oh
right
yeah,
system and the staff.
there's so much. Yeah, man, they got a lot of going on in basketball right now.
Do you
Definitely
think
with the
Duke would have beat
NIL.
do you
Go
think
ahead.
Duke would have beat Florida if Duke was in? Do you think Duke would beat Florida?
Possibly, possibly, probably. On paper they got the better lineups, but they didn't have enough bricks in their pockets for Houston, so they blew it against Houston. But hey, you were telling me about the quarterback at was it Texas, Tennessee?
Uh, yeah, the rumor mill has it where I
He
guess he
wanted
I
like 4 million.
I don't know, but I don't know what the rules are, but he couldn't transfer to another SEC school in the spring, something like that. So he was trying to make his way to a different division. And what I was reading was Oregon was one of the schools, but the coach over there, Dan, was the one that called Tennessee's coach, let him know like, hey, your guy's sniffing for a deal. And I love what the Tennessee coach has done. Was like, hey, he's no longer our quarterback. I truly think there should be this main rule, Dre, and NIL for any sports is you can transfer one time in your 4-year eligibility because you're basically just having 18 through 20-year-old kids just transfer a new school every freaking year. And it doesn't like, to me, if I was a coach, if I was a professional scout, maybe they check off every 10 box. Like, okay, fine, you're going to take that player. But if like Tom Brady says it best, you're not learning a system, you're building a program, you're just looking out for you and your own. And I think that hurts college sports in every sector. The biggest ones being football and then followed by basketball. And you'll probably see it make its way through every other sport, especially for the ones that follow them more and deeply. But I think you should transfer one time. So kudos to the Tennessee coach, say like, hey man, this guy's no longer our quarterback. You don't want to be here, you don't want to play for the team, you want more money. We got other people that would gladly wear that orange tee on my helmet.
Yeah. See, I agree, but I disagree because you go to college and they sell you the dream. Go to college, you're gonna have this, that. Your parents are always gonna be able to talk about your degrees that you got, but are you getting paid for them? Did you change your major every other week? To me, it is what it is. A lot of these people, n- let's say 80% of the
So you're
players, they're
basically just
not
saying I'm
going
going
to
to
pro.
college to play. No, see,
I'm
that's
going
a
to
different
college.
thing.
I'm
I'm
going to
going to
college to get
college
paid.
to get paid. See, that's the
You see
mentality
with the
that
WNBA, them ladies, the second pick in the draft, she's supposed to be going number two after Paige Beckers. She said, "Nah, I'm gonna stay because I'm getting paid more in college than I would get going pro."
now, see, that's the thing, and truthfully, that's you say America too big to fail, man. There's some generations that I think like probably won't know what to do. Those being probably the ones that like if they don't have a stable job, and these are what are you gonna do after that? You're gonna be a washed up 40-year-old college basketball player that made $10 million off of Gatorade or Powerade or whatever
And
sports.
hopefully and hopefully you made smart investments. And you got 10 million should get you through the rest of your life.
Okay, so
You knew you weren't gonna make it to the NBA.
what about the kids that are trying to go to college to actually learn about and they can't afford it, but you got these people transferring every week it seems like.
Hey, what that got to do with them?
I'm just
What
saying
that got to do with
you're
them?
making that you said about you said
Yeah, I know what I said.
changing your major is completely different than switching an entire school because I'm getting paid more.
Or because I don't want to play basketball here. Maybe I won't be get a lot of them players aren't getting paid more.
The bench and you like, "Oh, I don't want to work hard. I don't want to make the starting team. I'm going to
Hey
transfer."
Jake, North Carolina, they have a lot of billionaires that give to that school. You know what I'm saying? I can't
So
be
if you were
mad
there,
about the play.
so let's say, hey Dre, we'll pay you, but you're never gonna play. You're probably six man. You're probably first off the bench.
A
You
lot of
going?
players are leaving schools because they do want to play. They don't care about the money. Not everybody's about the money.
They're making it seem like I
That's
don't want to
just
be
that's
here.
just like that's just like the tariff talk. We only hear and take in what we like to hear. On that conversation, I think you need to listen to the other side of it. Yeah. Okay.
These people will be like, oh, I'm gonna go here because I'm not playing enough, or I'm
Now,
getting an
like
extra
the
million.
the Tennessee kid, he was trying to leverage himself. That was an asshole move, and get him the fuck out of here. I mean, yeah. Come on,
And I hope that
but
sets the the turn the tide of like, hey, transfers are welcome. It's great and all, but don't be trying to fish under the table, especially if your coach doesn't even know that, because that's bad business. You talk about investments, you're already doing bad business deals if you're trying to do that.
if I'm allowed to do it, hey, I'm in business for myself.
I mean, the world's different. College world's different than when we were there, Dre. I mean, it's like maybe, and the thing is, maybe if you knew like you can get paid, yeah, I probably would have worked probably 5 times as harder in a sport. But I did it because I loved it. I played sports because one kept you in shape, two you made a lot of friends. It was just
You
with
got
what
the
it is.
girls.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and say
But
it.
some of these kids, man, the day they're born, they're put into like all these club games. They're putting all these travel balls like an investment. You're like, man, I'm having a kid, thoroughbred, and he's going into everything possible in hopes that you get an NIL deal.
A lot of them burn out by eighth grade.
That's what I'm saying. It's like never, my kid, I want him to play sports just because I want to witness that and I want to be part of it and, teach, right? But if he's good, that's awesome. If he loves it, even better. But you don't want your kid to like burn out and
Nah,
suffer from some type of, you could even be depressed of like, man, my parents just want me to do this. I want to disappoint that. And it's like, I never want that for my kid. But some of these kids, yeah, you're right. They're stuck into this. And by the time they get up there, they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
right, and that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have burnouts. You're supposed to have the kids that are flunking out right after. How does it work? You got to be eligible up to December, and then if you're going in the draft, you don't even got to do no more schoolwork. You're gonna have those, and it's not gonna be perfect, but
Do you think the NBA is ever going to change their draft rules, right? Where it's like, because it's 1 year in college, 1 year and you're good. You play one
see,
season.
me, I think it was better when you come out of high school because it wasn't as. I think it was easier. Like college basketball was better, and just the NBA in a whole was a little better because you had the flameouts that thought they could come out of high school, and you got the ones that did come out and they made it. But
I mean, I get the
no,
risk aversion there because you don't want to, a torn ACL or anything like that could put you out, right? Hell, a torn Achilles tendon, man, that could put you out too. Um, but basketball might be different because LeBron, he was the last class, right, to do the high school out of high school, right?
no, it was. I think it was a year after him with Dwight Howard, J.R. Smith, guys.
So it's like I get that, and you're probably
Those
right because
four.
it gives the people that want to play college ball able to play a little bit more than like, probably the top 20, 25 like all-stars in high school. But at that point it's like, do you think college sports are just not as interesting as much because you just hear those talks about trades and the SEC and all the realignments and all this BS going on? I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, we just hear more about the business now, and with with the internet, more access we have, we're gonna get more business talk. But what I think with all of because tennis players get NIL deals. Everybody gets NIL deals. Only reason college did that is because the kids were getting paid anyways by boosters under the table for years, and
Reggie
these
Bush got
colleges
his
were
Heisman
making
back.
billions. Yeah, so the college really, the NCAA messed up their own product. If it was a drug, they messed up their own product. But next year they're gonna. I think it's next year or 2027. The NCAA is gonna do an incentive for college athletes to where they get a percentage of pay for whatever box of money. I don't know where the money's coming from, but we'll see how that works. It's getting passed like through legislation. It's gonna be federal, so every state is gonna have to pass their own things.
It's no, that's getting interesting. I know like that kind of falls into like because Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference too, so it's like when they made it to the
But yeah, that's
playoff, the conference got the
Yeah.
money, but Notre Dame was like, we're not in a conference, so they got to keep
Boy,
like they got to keep all of it. They're like, this is what we're independent, brother. We're not doing
hey,
this.
when 2 years from now, I'm gonna really get on that Notre Dame topic. Hey, what's I'm saying? The Notre Dame topic is bigger. Well, let me stop. But it's a lot going like the tariffs and stuff and all that crazy shit. Notre Dame, y'all been getting over for some years, decades.
Saying like Notre Dame, like what? It's a little drop a little teaser of what you're upset about.
Yeah, Notre Dame and schools like that. It's kind of like Green Bay too. You're just owned by the people. Like what? You make your own rules and stuff. Like it's a lot more to that, and not everybody's a conspiracy theorist. There's facts out there about all that shit.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know too
Yeah.
much about that. I just only thing that Notre Dame when I was a kid was the Rudy movie about Rudy always wanted to play for Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Didn't really get too much about it. What else, Trey? What else you got going on in your life, man?
We got the NBA the playoffs are set, but we got the in game the tournaments. So in the NBA,
Like, what is
they,
are they still doing the in season tournaments? Like, is
yeah,
that
yeah,
gone?
but
Is
that's
that
at the beginning. That's beginning of the season.
so they're still doing those?
So end of the season is the seventh through 10th seed, 7, 8 play, 9 and 10 play. The two winners go to the actual playoffs. So they play one and done games against each other. And let me see, I got it here. You got Atlanta versus Orlando, Memphis versus Golden State, Miami versus Chicago, and Dallas versus Sacramento. I'm gonna tell you now, it'll behoove the Mavericks to get in, just for the psyche.
These are not like the dominant teams. These are just like playing like tournament, right? Because
Yes.
OKC
So
wasn't in there, which I know is like a top team right now.
KC is one in the West. They'll get the winner of Memphis and Golden State or Dallas and Sacramento, and then they'll play them in a 7 game series. So
Who you got? So who you got in for the finals
let's
right now?
see. Atlanta. Well, let me see. In this, Orlando and Orlando, I'm gonna take Orlando. And then Memphis and Golden State. I'm gonna say Golden State because experience, but John Morant is a hell of an athlete. He's just a dummy. Miami and Chicago. I'm gonna take Chicago. Sacramento and Dallas. I'm gonna take Dallas. Anthony Davis got to make it happen for the city.
Dallas is
Dallas, boy,
the Luca trade, the
they fired
biggest
Nico.
trade in recent sports history of
The
getting rid
worst
of
trade they
Luca.
saying.
Man,
Yeah,
this
man.
dude's too big. I'm too worried about his. I'm too worried. This guy's getting fat. Let's get rid of
He
him.
drinking beer. He
Nah,
scored 60 and 10, and it's crazy.
couldn't be a Dallas man. I'm glad I don't live in Dallas. No offense to you, D-town
It's
folk.
fun out there though.
I
Boy, it
bet it
is.
is. I
So
mean, I'm going to
you should
Austin.
go on a guys trip out there.
I'm going to Austin later in the year. I know it's a completely different scene and a completely different culture, but I heard you were at Dallas actually. Yeah, you did. You went to a Cowboys game.
Years ago, yeah. Cowboys versus Jets.
So what was so good about it? What was so great about D-town?
Well, so the stadium is
Nothing.
not
That's
in
what's right,
Dallas.
Dre. Nothing.
It's beautiful. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's beautiful. Well, I wore my Tom Brady jersey. I had to represent my Patriots. No, they would give me high fives and shit. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But you asked me,
Texas. I don't want to harp on
go
Texas.
ahead.
Texas is a good state. Like they got some low. They got no in-state income. I think they got no like income. Yeah, there's some good stuff in Texas, but Dallas just trash, man.
Oh yeah,
It's
Cowboys.
the
Yeah,
armpit of the state.
yeah.
Armpit of the state.
What other
Um.
topic we have, man?
Yeah.
The
So,
real
but you
ID.
got you said something about okay. So and then how did Bronny's? I admit I don't watch as much basketball as you. How did Bronny's start go? Was it today? You said.
Yeah, he started. He had like 4 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. So he did all right. My question is, I wonder if they're gonna put him. Well, they probably will put him on the because you get a 13 or 15 man roster for the NBA playoffs. They'll probably put him on there. but they may have to make some cuts. But the fact that he played so many games, even if he was a DMP, did not play, coach decision, or whatever, if they were to win a ring, he would get a ring with his pops. So, and I got the
That's just a lover boy fairy tale
Lakers
for
in
you.
5.
Oh,
Lakers in 5.
Jesus. Dre, I hope it happens for you so you can be happy, but Jesus, I'll barf at the same time, I guess.
It is what
His
it is.
little daddy's boy. Jeez Louise. His other son, though, I told you I think his other son's going to be better than Bronny.
Well, he probably will be. He's like 6'6" already. Going on Arizona. Bryce Maximus.
You think Bron's going to be like, nah, I'm staying in the league until I get both my sons in the Lakers? What do you think he's going to do?
I'm crazy.
At that point,
Play.
hey, since you are biased though, so like this is probably more for like listeners and watchers. At what point do you just call BS on LeBron and say, dude, like you're just literally running the team at this point. Just suck it up. Quit being an 80-year-old dude trying to play for your sons and make history. Any other player, this ain't gonna happen for. There's no doubt.
Any other player couldn't play. It
Let
wasn't
me
worth
ask
keeping on the
you this
team.
question. Let me ask you this question real quick.
So, yeah.
I was watching something and I heard this and I want to get your take on it. So basketball was probably, and you could check me, Dre, and people can whatever. So the debate goes Jordan and LeBron, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
statistic,
yeah,
some people's books, there's way better players, I'm sure, like, different times. But basketball was probably at its peak, right? In the Jordan era, would you say? Like, when I'm saying peak, I'm saying TV ratings, people love basketball, the Bulls of the 90s. Would you say Jordan, like, peak basketball?
No, not for me. Not for me.
But here's the thing. I read something that Jordan was peak basketball. He left basketball, the NBA, when it was like on the top, right? LeBron is the player currently, but basketball is dwindling apparently, not only on revenue ads, on TV watching subscription. So they're basically saying Jordan is the GOAT because he built basketball to what it was, and LeBron and his quote unquote show is lowering a lot of stuff. I don't know, Dre. Hey, that's just for people to ponder on. I'm
It's
just
like
saying.
the whole news thing we talked about earlier with politics.
Hey, no,
When
these
Jordan's
might be
name comes up,
facts.
it's
This is probably
politicians.
facts. I think the next conversation, I think the next combo, I'm probably gonna spit you some facts and just be like, yeah, this is what I talked about. This is the ratings when Jordan were here, just so I can maybe have some proof, proof in the pudding. But that's what I heard.
That is true. But we put it on LeBron, like it's LeBron's fault.
He's the
You know what I'm saying?
He's the one. He's kind of like the NBA, like governor. He's the one firing coaches. He's the one hiring his podcast person. I mean, that's just me trying to shoot some shit right now. But
No, I know.
But I'm saying and then I'm saying any other player this wouldn't fly to. So that's what I'm saying. If it does happen, diehard fans for you, yeah, that's great to see. But it's like, dude, any other player, you wouldn't get your sons. You wouldn't be able to be in the league when you're like, what is he going to be, 45, 46? Older than that?
No, he's about to be 41 this year. But if he wasn't playing good for the last 22 years, then it's not, what are we doing? So
Do you think he's on the downslope though? Do you think he's
actually, yes. Because this is the first year in 20 years he hasn't averaged 25 points. He averaged 24.5, 7.7 rebounds. So he's on a downslope, I guess. Because the .5, he's you know, so
spending money on his body? I guess that
yeah,
report he
man.
spends like $1 million, and I think
He
he
said
was
that
on
was bullshit too.
It's like this is a bullshit. I don't know where that number
Where
came
did they
from.
get this shit from?
Oh man, no, man, I don't know. I just love busting your chops about
Oh, I love it.
LeBron
'Cause
stuff.
when I talk the two best players in ever to play, for me it always starts with LeBron James and Tim Duncan.
I'm a big
Back in
Steve.
somewhere for me.
I'm a big Steve Nash fan. Grew up
Steve Nash is
watching
nice.
him, and he was a good ball
Soccer player
handler.
too.
Yeah, I like Steve Nash.
LeBron's actually doing him and Steve Nash got the podcast now.
I saw that. I also was a huge fan of is drawing a blank Sixers player. Iverson, man, that dude would just like cross anybody. I was a big Iverson fan.
He was about 5'9", soaking wet, about maybe 130 pounds.
Do you think they should make another like Mike movie, but like LeBron?
Like
You think?
Brian,
Brian,
yeah, so
yeah,
I
so
can
I
be
can
like
be
the
like the
coach
coach
to the
to the
kid
kid
in the
in the
movie.
movie. I don't know. They was it Space Jam? I didn't know if I nothing's ever gonna top the original just because it's the original. This is no harp on LeBron, but Space Jam 1 was just peak kids 90s, like beautiful with the
That
cartoons.
was one of them. See, that's my thing. I can admit that. Even though
That it was better.
I
Yeah,
took my daughter the first night to see Space Jam with LeBron. We had a blast, but it didn't give me that feeling of when I was a kid because I'm an adult now and I can't get those feelings.
I think it's also just peak. It just hits you and the nostalgia when you watch it. Like that was and that was like in a time where it was like real life with the animation. It was just peak. Like that was cinema.
Just starting up and shit.
Speaking of cinema, I haven't seen some of the new movies out. I know you're a movie pass goer. Run down some good reviews from all of our watchers and listeners on some good stuff. Minecraft, I think you watched. We talked, which
Yeah.
the chicken jockey scene's been going nuts. And then you watched
Luckily,
a
I
movie.
wasn't none of them that did that, throwing popcorn and shit. But it was a fun movie, man. Minecraft. If you haven't seen it, and we ain't getting paid by no sponsors, so but go see Minecraft. There were old people in there, young people, standing ovation. That was the first movie since Avengers Endgame where I had a standing ovation.
Apparently beat Barbie. I think it beat
Oh,
Barbie's
word.
massive numbers. So I think people were like really not anticipating it doing good. And I think the culture, I haven't
It
never
blew it
played
out the water.
Minecraft. Yeah, I've never
Yeah,
played
me either.
Minecraft, but I think it's just the phenomenon of the people that's played it. And it's a relatively older game, I would say.
Yeah, it is.
So it's probably got a following. And not
And
to
you don't
mention,
got to play the game to
and you
understand it.
to understand the movie. But I mean, you
Yeah.
got Jack Black, who's a funny actor, so you got the comical side, and then I'm a big Jason Momoa fan, so like
Yeah,
you
the
got
sex
that.
symbol Jason Momoa.
Yeah, and you got a couple up and coming good actors. There was the actress from Wednesdays in it, the blonde girl. I don't know her name off the top of my head.
Then the
Um,
actor, the young lady, she's from Orange is the New Black. She's in it. I can't remember her name. Black
so
woman. She's
Minecraft's a
in
good
it. She's
movie.
good too.
So Minecraft's a good movie.
Today, me and my buddy, we just seen Warfare. It was really good. He's a military guy, so some of the shit he was getting pissed next to me. But I was like, bro, I mean, if spoiler, it- s- you in combat, you're gonna. Some people are gonna get shooken up. Like, and that happened a few times. And he said a lot of things that they did because that's based on true events from 2000 and like the early 2000s. Some things did then they don't do now. So some of the precautions they were taking and different things like that, they would have did different now from then. I would say that probably was like a B minus, C plus. Minecraft was an A. What else did I just see? Let me check my app. I just seen something else, man. I thought I'd text you. I got my ticket to Thunderbolt.
Oh yeah, and dude, what was it this weekend or something that you're trying to go? Was
It's
it
the
last weekend?
second.
Yeah,
Let me see.
I'm out of
Death of
town
a
that.
Unicorn.
Oh, Death of a Unicorn. That was
Yeah, that was
I think that
a real
was that good. It
quirky
looked really
movie.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's in it.
Is that
And
the main
the chick that plays Wednesday. He's their
Jenna
father
Ortega,
and
I think?
daughter. Yeah.
So was it a good movie? Is it more of a thriller or like comedy or
It's comedy, thriller, a little bit of like horror, horror, a little bit. It's quirky. Let me see. Snow White.
Oh yeah, Snow White. We were both talking about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It didn't do well. My take is I think people are getting annoyed with the remakes, whether it's live action or not. I know there was some political views that the main actress I think had that also spurred some
Yeah, I
controversies
think
and
that's the
people.
only thing. I think that's the only thing.
But you said you loved it. You said you liked the movie.
Yeah, my daughter loved it. The thing with all these remakes, my daughter's 6, right? People that are 30 and over are gonna. I think it's crazy to compare Cinderella, the original Cinderella's from like 1950 or 1960. My daughter, her Cinderella is this one. She ain't gonna be comparing this to that, or the only one she likes better is the Little Mermaid, the old Little Mermaid. But she loves the new Little Mermaid because it looks like her.
Uh-huh.
You know, it is what it is. But a lot of times people go into movies like, okay, how does this compare to the first? Or what what can I hate on this one about without without just enjoying the movie?
No, yeah, you got to go into full like. So my take
You
is like,
have
I
to.
just hate, I hate remakes because I think sometimes they're money grabs. If it's done right, then it's a perfectly good movie. But I think people do have that mindset where they go in like, oh, this was better, it was better as an animation film. Animation films are probably way better. It's the original stories. There's probably older ones in that before like they were made. No, it's good to know that you liked it. Especially people that have daughters or anyone that has a kid, really. That I couldn't take my son to watch it. He wouldn't. He barely can sit through a movie as it is, unless it's like two shows
Mhm.
ablaze. At this point, but no, that's good to know that they were there. And I'm sorry I can't watch Thunderbolts with you. I'm out of town that like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so I can't like go out and do a movie. I mean, I probably could, but it's probably not fair, being
It's
out.
all good. What you got going on Thursday or
I
Friday?
got a we got a I got a work conference, so I'm going up there doing some stuff with our
This
sales
week?
team.
Talking about this week. I'm gonna hit you up after this.
Yeah, because once we get the house after being chaotic, I think we'll be fine. But anyway, I don't know, Dre. It's been a good conversation, over an
Hey,
hour. I
man.
know
Yeah.
we're trying to focus on the right. I'm curious in the comments too, because Dre and I had this conversation. The ideal time. We don't want to bore people to make them lose interest, but I know people, if that's a good conversation, people listen. Just curious what people think on, if it's an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, the whole 24 hours, whatever.
Right, or what do? We just cut off when we ain't got no topics and we just when you start seeing more edits than usual, people, you know.
You that watched the first one, love it. Thank you so much again. Editing is a skill that I'm gonna learn. Dre's gonna learn. Maybe one day in
Yeah.
the future we can pay a team, but love
And
that you
also
guys.
we're working on getting just to the audio because I know a lot of people
Yeah,
just listen and don't watch. So we're working on that. There is, man.
probably a year, and this is episode 2, so we're just glad to get 2 episodes done. But know what you want to do. We went into this not really having like a set topic. It was just the customary of talking things in the world, and not everything is black and white. It's not as simple as that. There's a lot of individual pieces that you have to think of, but it's one of those things that we're just glad to do this. This is a good hobby. It hopefully keeps up. But I don't know, Dre. I think maybe until next time we talk. I know me personally, I want to get better at our understanding of what we're talking about. I also love the
Mhm.
freestyle of just back and forth, which is great. I think that helps us out. We're also very personable each other. But if anyone has any comments of like what you love to hear us talk about,
Yeah, leave it all. Your good comments, your hate comments, what we can work on,
pretty soon we'll have a like and
everything.
subscribe button, but I don't know how to do that yet. So if anyone knows how to do a like and subscribe button, show me or do it for me for free for a
Yeah,
resume
send me a
builder.
link. Y'all got my phone number. Y'all got me email.
Yeah, but
People that know me at least.
we'll get another episode out another week. So, but until next time, Dre. But remember, stay great, everybody.
Be great. That's all we got for you tonight. Peace. Love to you, Jake.
You too, Dre.